Greetings and salutations, fellow humans. Today is the 7th of September, 2024, and I am Thaddeus Satori. In the first episodes that I published, I shared my experience with cancer. I wanted to get those out right away in hopes that I could help somebody who is on, shall we say, a limited time budget. But now I'd like to backtrack a bit and explain a little bit behind the meanings of my name and logo. Thaddeus, or Saint Thaddeus, is the Greek name for Saint Jude, the patron saint of hopeless causes. When my parents were trying to figure out what to name me, my mother wanted my first name to be Jude, and my father would not stand for that, probably because he saw the potential for future bullying. But they did compromise and assigned Jude as my middle name. I have often joked that by naming me after the patron saint of hopeless causes, my mother was either extremely insightful or she just simply cursed me. Over the years, I've been accused several times of being a pessimist, and I prefer to think of myself as a realist, although I can see that oftentimes there is a very fine line between realism and pessimism. When I look at evolution and how our brains get wired through genetic and environmental and cultural programming, and I see our nearly unlimited capacity for self-deception and cognitive dissonance, how easily we are manipulated or hacked, and I look at how we have behaved since the advent of agriculture 12,000 years ago right up to the present, I can't say that I'm filled with a lot of optimism. Of course, add to that the vast amounts of power and money, and I would say manipulated masses who are fighting tooth and nail to stop the very changes we need to make in order to continue to survive. It's not that I think we are incapable of overcoming the challenges we face, it's just that I'm not sure we really have the time to do so. The word Satori is pretty straightforward. It is a Japanese word from Zen Buddhism, and it means a flash of enlightenment. I suppose the closest we can come in English is an epiphany, or perhaps an aha moment that the penny drops. I have had several Satoris in my lifetime, and while the experiences themselves are very fleeting, they do tend to leave a lasting mark on your perception. So that is how I derived my name. Now, if I can call your attention to the logo for a few minutes, you'll notice that the background is a horizontal yin and yang. It's usually presented in the vertical position. Yin and yang is probably the most recognized symbol from Taoism, which is a very old Chinese philosophy. The symbol represents the interconnectedness and interdependence of everything while acknowledging its duality, the light and dark, the male and female, the good and evil. You'll notice that in the black half there is a white circle, and in the white half there is a black circle. And this is meant to illustrate that both sides contain elements of the other, that nothing is inseparable, that nothing stands alone. As the Buddha put it, the one contains the many contain the one. Overlaying the yin and yang is a map of the earth. I chose this because it is a very common and easily recognized image, and the positioning I chose was to make people look twice to figure out what it was. The malpositioning of these two very recognizable images are pretty much summed up in the words along the southwest arc of the circle. Shift your point of perception. That's what the images are meant to do also. The expression, I believe, I got from the teachings of Don Juan by Carlos Castaneda. For many years now, I have tried to view the world as if I were an alien from another planet, so that I can step back and look at things from a very distant perspective. As Albert Einstein once said, quote, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them," unquote. So that is really the goal of the channel, is to get people to see things from a different viewpoint. As this channel progresses, I'm sure there will be people who disagree with me, and that is good. I only ask that if you do disagree with me, and you think I'm wrong, please provide a good argument as to why that's the case. If it turns out that you're right, I will change my mind. I do not cling to my beliefs. And before I sign off this time, I'd like to leave you with my favorite quotation. It comes from a British philosopher named Bertrand Russell, and he said, quote, "I would never die for my beliefs because I might be wrong," unquote. The implication there is humility. We are humans, we make mistakes, we're all wrong sometimes, so we should stop and question. If we are, as a species, going to overcome the obstacles confronting us, we're going to have to work together to do that, and it needs to start with listening to other people's viewpoints on things. I guess that's about it for now. Hope this explains a few things. Cheers.